Surprise, everybody! Reason had its day. It's Deep Dive Zone, a review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. And you'll note that I didn't use the word Sonic here because, well, I don't know what this counts as anymore.
It's Sonic adjacent, kind of.
Yeah, it's related like all the non-Sonic things we cover.
Yeah,
I-
it's really even tangentially, it's related.
It has Sonic in it, technically. This is I was a little bit cheeky because last time I said A, that we were done with bootlegs, and B, that we would be reintroducing ourselves to some Archie Sonic characters, not to Archie Sonic itself. No, instead
it is a bootleg.
Yeah, it is. Actually, that's true. So you double
Yeah,
deceived.
you lied
Yeah.
on two fronts.
So, once upon a time, we looked at a lot of comics by a Mr. Kenneth Penders Jr., and, they were not great. But, you know, there's been this whole saga, right, that we've kind of skirted around the edges of, because I really am not that into, like, the whole legal discourse regarding the Penders stuff. I used to be.
The legal discourse has like any legal shit, it's got nuance to it.
It's got nuance, and also, like, people are constantly trying to...
it's too toxic to cover.
Well, and people are constantly trying to relitigate it. They think that if they can just ratio Ken Penders on Twitter hard enough, he'll give back all the characters he took. Or if they can, you know, find a secret technicality in all these legal documents that they don't have the full context or understanding of, that SEGA will be like, aha, we can just use this stuff. And it's like, one, Penders is an asshole. He's not going to do anything either way.
Right.
And two, SEGA doesn't care that much. Them not caring that much is the whole reason that it turned out this way, because they didn't feel like involving themselves with Archie's mistake.
Well, and something I've seen over the last year or so, people point out, is that Ian Flynn has even mentioned how SEGA could use the characters if they wanted to. They're not interested in using the characters anymore. That's the main thing.
Well,
yeah, it's come and gone. Like,
they could
it doesn't matter.
They could
anymore.
likely use the characters if they wanted to, but they're not interested in that universe anymore.
Yeah, I mean, SEGA doesn't even make full use of the characters that they absolutely own and created.
Sure. I mean, they're only barely starting to make use of IDW characters outside of the comics.
Yeah, but even within IDW, it's like, they haven't put Eggman Nega in a story in a really, really long time.
Yeah, I saw people talking about that a couple years ago.
Yeah, in any long-running series, like, characters and ideas will get left behind.
Yeah,
it just will happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's bound to happen.
Yep. But in the intervening years since leaving Archie, and this is part of the reason that the lawsuit happened, it's not something that he started after the lawsuit.
Right.
Ken Penders decided, I got all these characters that are quote-unquote mine. I'll just make my own follow-up to Mobius 25 years later, because they can't make me make... I think the whole reason that Penders left Archie is just because he fucking hated having an editor. I honestly think that that's what it is.
You know what? Reading this, that does definitely come across.
And so what followed has been this, you know, terrifying saga of Penders trying to move away from the Sonic art style in the most hideous way possible. And
yeah,
you know, this doesn't even encapsulate how bad some stuff looks, because this doesn't have any of the 3D renders.
Okay, but recall, this is somewhat not Ken's fault, because they did mandate that the art style had to be very distinct.
Well, possibly. I honestly don't know what's going on with some of his solo books, because this is not the only thing that he has released. This is the only completely original work that he has released, which we're going to be looking at. But he's been re-releasing some of the stories he wrote unlicensed, and even actually put out some of the ones that Scott Shaw wrote. He actually put out a Scott Shaw Sonic collection.
There's also a Shadow Omnibus coming out that supposedly has some of Flynn's stories in it.
Yeah, so it's like, his willingness to obey the rules doesn't come down to... Ian didn't agree to reprint that, and when people ask, he's just like, I'll give him money. It's like, well, you have to get consent for that either way.
Right.
Okay, but if I'm being charitable, I was just pointing that out. Oh, yeah, but by no means am I saying that they're trying to stick
Sure,
within the
yeah.
bounds.
Well, and either way, as we're gonna whatever. Anyway, this is the thing that matters. He said, I'm gonna make my 7-part graphic novel series, the Lara-Su Chronicles. And he mostly hasn't done that. In fact, almost
He
every
claims to
work
have
in...
been doing it.
Well, almost every work in progress drawing that I've seen from him over the last decade is contained within this story.
Yep. The one I've recognized a lot of the stuff I've seen from like his Twitter in here.
And ultimately, well, you know, he did release something. We did say that, you know, we didn't think he would ever come out with anything. And he
that's
has
true.
come out with a book. In this case, it is...
See if anything else comes from it.
The Lara-Su Chronicles Beginnings, which is a quote-unquote prequel to that graphic novel series. And it looks like this, and it is mostly a reprint of his 25 years later stories that we're not really going to be covering much of.
Thank God.
We already covered them.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
We don't need to read. They haven't changed much. There's a couple things, but
I don't care how much they've changed, to be honest.
I'm slightly interested, but I don't care enough to make you two be interested.
Yes, so it is a reprint of those with an original story attached, and I guess a bunch of like data files or whatever,
bios and shit.
Or skim those.
Yeah. So
yeah, same.
Yeah. So this cover, my God.
Oh boy.
So
it's supposed to like show like, oh, you know, there are two things here. So I get why like you'd keep the art style, but at the same time it looks bad, and maybe they should have like redrawn the characters in the middle. I don't know.
Yeah, so for one thing, this is parts of it are directly traced from God, what is it? Sonic number 131 or maybe something
like that, probably.
The one where all the Sonic characters are looking at Merlin's crystal ball and the future characters are coming out of it. That issue.
Yeah.
But now we have all of these weird other versions of the characters looking at a ball. You know, it's like there's no Merlin here, so what's the ball? And
there's
also
no
you can
context
barely
of
see
what
it.
This is
not well rendered.
It's not literal. It's just
it's more
it's a cool cover, supposedly, allegedly.
Yeah. And that means that parts of this are traced from Butler and Spaziant. You can especially tell looking at Lara-Su that that's definitely the way that sort of Spaziant draws hair.
Yeah.
But instead, yeah, fucking faces on the rest of these lads. Well, it's like, God, I hate looking at them, sorry. It's also funny because only Lara-Su and Julie-Su here are actually original renders. All these other ones are just stock poses for the characters that he drew and then just sort of placed in the background. It's not a great look. So, yeah, and I want to mention, by the way, if you want to read Mobius 25 years later, you'd still be better off reading Sonic Super Special Magazine number 4, because that already reprints all of them with Ian Flynn's 2 conclusion stories from later.
Of course.
It doesn't have the Locke Dies of Cancer story, but also the reprints in here are taken from actual, just pirated fan.
Of course they are.
And yeah, as far as the original stories, or as far as the original Mobius 25 years later stories go, the only real differences is minor art changes, and a lot of that is just like when they show Angel Island, they change it to Ken's horrible photo bash like Angel Island logo that he's been using for 20 years.
Oh God.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, Beginnings contains about the length of one actual Sonic issue, so totally worth the 18-year wait. But yes,
obviously.
The first page here is the last page of the Diaz cast, which is the story that ended with Sonic jumping in the time device and then something happening.
There's Sonic, you're right.
Yeah, this is the only time I think we see him in this issue. Or he's mentioned.
Well, our upload has all of those, recap pages cut out, but
sure, well, yeah.
Anywho,
Forgot how
originally
silly Sonic looked in that machine.
I'm actually not sure if Ken changed it. He did.
I don't know. It's either way, Sonic looks fucking silly.
Yeah. But originally it cut to Sonic and Knuckles after this going, I wonder what the future will be like. But now it cuts to hands, or hand, I guess. One of those is a hand, the other is...
I assume that's also a hand.
It's like an arm with some liquid tubes coming out.
I think they're both hands.
And some Photoshop effects.
Yeah.
But he says Knuckles fucked something up by going on a time travel mission, and now the era of Override begins anew. Is Override a person?
Yeah, this is this issue has a nasty habit of saying things and not actually explaining what they mean.
He says he wants vengeance, so it's presumably someone Knuckles met. Is it a character from the original series or what? Because a bunch of names from the Sonic version got changed by Penders when transitioning to this new thing. So this could be a villain. You know, is this Dimitri? I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe?
He's clearly a cyborg of some sort, but yeah, I don't know.
There are a lot of those, though. There's like a whole legion of them, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Anyway, so the actual story here, presumably a story, is called The Storm, which is, of course, written and drawn by Ken Penders, so much that the credits say it twice. And so, following the die is cast, a huge temporal storm alters the world, I guess, around Jeffrey St. John and the Brotherhood of Guardians, and then they talk a lot.
Yeah, basically.
Yep. And, yes, we begin with Jeffrey St. John. Even by the time he left Archie, Ken had not written this guy for years. All of his later appearances were by Ballers. And I think this is still in... No, we don't need to talk about that yet. We gotta take this one thing at a time. So, Jeffrey is here in some kind of underground bunker. The bunker, actually, it says. And he's looking at what I assume was Sonic and Knuckles' ship going to the place?
It's been too long since I've read the stuff, and also, like, I think this is all new stuff anyway, so, like,
pretty sure
maybe.
Is, but what?
Yeah. And he's like sitting backwards on an office chair here.
He's Rikering, which...
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, I mean, that's what I know it as, because that's how Riker sits in every chair in TNG.
Okay, no, that's almost certainly a reference in that case. I didn't.
Well, because I know Penders loves his Star Trek ripoffs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just didn't know. But this dog lady comes in. Her name is Brownie, I think. Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't realize that was a female character.
Okay, I did.
Even though does Jeffrey actually refer to them with any pronouns?
I mean, I guess not, but she...
I don't know. I mean, I believe you.
Anyway, she has a folder of, like, classified info, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, who are you? And it's like... Jeffrey is, like, immediately super suspicious.
I guess he's a spy, so he's bound to be suspicious.
I guess.
Yeah, Jeffrey whips out a gun, and I'm like, yes, kill someone on page 3. Do it.
There is a typo seemingly on page 3. They spell Zephyr wrong.
Well, okay, we'll get to the Zephyr thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, also I want to note, by the way, there's an obviously reused drawing of Knuckles on one of the screens there. They keep calling him Praetorian in these stories, but yeah. But yes, so Jeffrey immediately starts interrogating this woman and accuses her of being a spy for Alicia or Elias, which is weird because that's a mother and son that are presumably on the same side as the kingdom, which is also Jeffrey's side. So
intergovernment factioning.
I don't know, but
I mean, it's obvious he wants to write some. Penders wants this to be something with like all kinds of like intrigue, political intrigue, and all kinds of intrigue. Yeah. But
well, and so now we have to talk about, you know, obviously the art. Okay, so the art starts out not super unlike the way that Penders drew for the Sonic comics. It's not
really
quite the same, but it's similar enough. and I wasn't actually immediately hating life seeing it.
No, this early stuff isn't that bad.
But on the second page, as the ship goes into some kind of portal or storm or something, it like makes reality get fuzzy, and then after that, the art style changes.
I guess that's a way to show time fuckery.
I think, well,
That's
maybe,
my guess.
I mean, yes, I do think that the timeline changes, and that's what's going on.
Which is dumb, but okay.
He also uses it to change the art style, so I think he is trying to literalize the change from his Sonic art style to his new one, which means you still are drawing in the style that allegedly you were told not to, if that is indeed true.
Yeah.
Trying to make it like part of the story and be all cheeky, that doesn't exonerate you.
True, but I mean, it was only the very beginning, to be fair.
Yeah, it wasn't that many pages.
Yeah, I was working on the assumption here that, like, partially because of how it gets later, that, like, initially it's like supposed to be a direct continuation, and then there's like a shift, and it's like, all right, now it's time for whatever I decided to do with everything after 18 years.
So the impression I got was these pages were drawn years apart, and that's why the art style shift.
Maybe.
That's
I don't
possibility, but
I don't know how true that is.
I mean, it's all on one page for part of it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's like, I'm not sure if that's really the case.
A lot of this stuff was drawn years apart. You're not wrong about that, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's really the reason why it looks like this.
Yes, but now we were introduced to Penders' modern style, attempting to make his furries more human-looking faces and more detailed anatomy, and boy, does it not work.
No, it is, it's wrong on a lot of levels.
It's just bad. He loves saying, oh, they're aliens, they're supposed to look weird, but the uncanny valley effect cannot stop.
Yeah.
You might as well just made them into humans at a certain point.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't in some, or like, part of me is surprised he didn't.
Because he can draw humans.
Fair.
But then you lose the only reason that people are looking at these comics. They have to be these characters.
Fair.
Well, okay, let's be clear. He loves to boast, about the orders that he gets. There's not a lot of people buying these.
I doubt there's been many people. I'm guessing he got a large influx early on because of the fact that he's finally putting something out.
Well, a lot of these people buy it because of memes. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, yeah, it's a combination of the meme that of his existence being basically a lol cow.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's actually putting something out after how many years? 18, 15 years?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm guessing there was a large influx at the beginning, and he has probably not had any orders in the year and a half, 2 years since it came out.
Probably not many. Well, and he
that's my guess at least.
I seem to recall he set a goal, didn't meet it, and then acted like his goal was lower afterward or something like that.
Fucking wild.
I don't imagine there's any universe. Okay, I guess there's a universe. I don't imagine there's any possibility in this universe that they would actually make money off of this. There's definitely more hours than money gained. But
yes.
I was just saying literally attention. I mean, because of their infamy, they could draw humans and some people would pay attention to it, but much less people would than, oh look, it's the stolen Sonic characters, not stolen allegedly.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, so yes, the weird reality shift happens, and the tablet in Jeffrey's hand switches to a gun pointing at Brownie, because apparently getting in here is just supposed to be that difficult. But she says she was sent by Dr. Zephyr, whoever that is.
Yeah.
And then Jeffrey gets a call from Remington, and I don't think Penders had ever drawn Remington before now, because mostly it was
probably not
Gallon doing it. But either way, this new design is hideous. his hair, I mean, okay, it's still the echidna dreadlocks, but his facial hair is weird.
The facial hair I don't like the facial hair.
And he doesn't really have, like, his normal hair anymore. It's like, I think you can barely see a couple locks of, the hair that he had on top of his dreads before.
Yeah.
But he's got a hat covering it up that is not his old hat. It's just, like, a lot more boring.
Generic, like, security hat.
And then the rest of his uniform is way worse because he has his weird humanoid muscular body, but his uniform is just kind of a shirt. He looks like a muscular 30-year-old in a cocktail dress. Only wearing a shirt works when you're a cartoon animal with noodle limbs.
Sure.
And the giant pupils, he's like wall-eyed for most of the shots of him, which just... I guess that's a pervasive issue, but...
Yeah, that's kind of an issue in general with a lot of the characters, is they feel... What's right? I don't want to just say they look like pugs, but they kind of do.
The pushed-up faces, it kind of does, yeah.
I feel like I use that so often, but, like, they do.
Yeah. Anywho, he says the Acorns wiretapped the Guardians? Are they not allies? Angel Island are the only ones who knew about the time travel mission, but I assume that was because it was, like, a desperate impromptu measure, not because they were, like, keeping it from them.
Again, I'm pretty sure it's a case of I want political intrigue, so my allies have to be spying on each other.
I guess.
So I do appreciate that you're trying to, like, think about this as if it's a actual continuation, but I seriously do not think that
you
the
can't.
10 cares one bit about the stories that came before this, even though it's supposed to be direct lead-in. They're just doing what they feel like.
Yeah, you can't. You
guess.
Can't look at this as it's a full continuation, because it really isn't.
Yeah, because when Remington tells him about the ship, he's like, "I don't believe you. That could be anyone in there." This is just Jeffrey being argumentative for no reason.
Jeffrey being argumentative because they're Jeffrey, actually.
Basically.
Yeah. They keep talking for another page, and I still don't really know what they're trying to say.
They're just spouting a bunch of shit.
It's really fucking hard to parse.
I'm gonna be honest. I started skimming part of this about this page.
Yeah, well, I tried to interpret it. Also, look at ugly ass Spectre.
I really tried. Does he say a single word in this either? I don't think he did.
I don't think so, actually.
He's just in the background. Granted, that's what he does most of the time in the other comics.
True.
Yeah. Remington says it was apparently some kind of violation for Kobar to go on the mission because he was monitored as one of the Dark Legion scientists. Sorry, Cyber Dark Colony it's called now.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, I guess that makes sense because Dark Legion was definitely dangerous. Which is still really weird because in 25 years later, Dimitri and Linda just act like Knuckles' crabby in-laws.
Basically.
And yeah, the rest of the Brotherhood of Guardians, they're all still alive. We didn't see them in 25 years later, and in the present of Archie, they're just gone. So that's a change, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But after this, we cut to the ship, the inside of the ship. I think as they're heading back after Sonic went kaput, maybe? Or maybe not. And I think they're also talking to the guys in the bunker after this somehow, maybe? There's no point where we saw this call start. It's really, again, it is really kind of impossible to parse. But this Rhino guy, we don't have Rotor anymore, so we have this Rhino guy now.
Right.
Oh, that's the Rotor stand-in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I completely missed that. I thought that, okay, I just thought they were there because they were there. I didn't question it.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's fair, yeah.
That's Rotor now, except I don't think this guy even has a name. He's just this Rhino guy.
I don't think he does.
I think they have a title.
They probably have a title, but
yeah. Anyway, also Kobar has gotten a significant redesign, and now he has black sclera in his eyes and does not look like he's 80 anymore. And yeah, Knuckles, or rather Praetorian, has hair and a goatee now. And Lara-Su... So Lara-Su has a visor rather than glasses, a different hairstyle, and they swapped her color scheme from red with pink hair to pink with red hair. And she wears booty shorts now.
Yeah.
Okay, emissary is what the rhino is referred to as
Is
later.
he
At least.
emissary?
I think so.
Okay, I
Emissary
sure.
of what?
I mean,
This comic, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
It's maybe that might be another Star Trek reference. I don't know.
Well, they talk more about something. I know they're they're talking about Lara-Su having stowed away. But I'm honestly not even sure what order I'm supposed to read this in.
There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or, I mean, in theory, you read it right to left. That's what it looks like on page 9 at least. That it wants you to read no, right left to right.
So okay, Knuckles and Fake Rotor talk about Lara-Su, and then dialogue boxes that I think are coming from Jeffrey respond to them, and they're like, sensors are picking up 4 life signs on board, and then Lara-Su says, they're talking about me, aren't they? And then Kobar says, you're an unknown quantity to the emissary. So I think that's him talking about Jeffrey, maybe.
Is Jeffrey the emissary?
No. I was checking later in this issue. The rhino's definitely referred to as emissary.
Okay.
Later on.
All right. Anyway, some weird dimensional anomaly hits the ship. That's what's important, if anything can be important. And Jeffrey says, we need Dr. Zephyr, except now we've spelled it 2 different ways than the 2 times it's been said, once with a Y and once with a U.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh my god.
So I'm assuming that's either due to like this timeline reset or with a Y was a typo.
Or Penders changed his mind over the course of years but didn't change the comic.
That's also possible.
It's the same timeline though, where it's 2 different spellings, so it can't be the timeline.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, Dr. Zephyr is, I don't know what he is, to be honest. Some kind of Klingon cat furry?
Kind of looks like a Klingon.
He's
also sitting backwards in his chair. I think that's just how chairs work.
That's
so stupid.
This page where, the doctor shows up is when I started to not understand the order of the speech bubbles. It's worse here, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I think it is worse here.
Yeah. I wrote my notes on this months ago, so I'm still trying to interpret what even I interpreted this as before. It says, okay. Remington says they need help with the dimension problem. Right. Jeffrey says it's the end of the world. Zephyr says maybe it's not, because stuff like this has happened before, and that actually it might just change time, space, and biology. What? They only time traveled. Okay, they only tried to time travel back a few years. I don't know. He's also somehow like recording all of time, I guess? And there's a second of time that has been erased from existence that just doesn't exist somehow. So they look at the recording, and it's the thing that happened a few minutes ago, where everything transformed from classic janky Penders to horrifying modern Penders. And also the ship got redesigned.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Because I was like, what are they looking at on this page where everyone's like, wow, what an amazing thing. It's the ship that's changing. Okay, it's a little hard to tell. Yeah, you see 2 drawings of the ship where it's kind of silver and reused, and then 2 other drawings where it's chrome but reflecting the red background and reused from a different drawing. That's the second that changed. Yeah, it would have been more clear if the ship was like going the same direction in both of them. Instead, it almost looked like it was just something else. Yeah. Also, on the page where Zephyr talks about biology changing, he's got this fucking echidna dissected with his brain out.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. You're right.
I was wondering what the fuck this was all about.
Yeah. And it's so weird because he says that this patient of his has 2 distinct sets of chromosomes. So it's like, we just saw this change a few minutes ago, but I have no idea how much time is passing during any of these panels. In a time travel story, who knows? Oh yeah, it retroactively happened earlier than we saw it. Anyway, I mean, time travel is nonsense, especially in fiction that doesn't have clear defined rules. So
yeah.
God, I hate fucking looking at this. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So Remington and Jeffrey, after this, they waffle more about games of deceit and information gathering that don't actually matter. And then Thunderhawk, which is the purple guy with, like, the palm leaves for hair, that echidna. He's chasing after Knuckles in his own ship, while Saber monitors him. And Saber, I think, is Locke's dad with the monocle.
Yes.
Yeah, and
God.
so he's going after them, and then they say, it could get bad. And I genuinely have no idea what this exchange between Remington and Jeffrey means, where he's like, you'd be better off with my commandos, and he's like, that's all I need. The Guardians would then ask when I established a direct line with you. So is Remington going over the Guardians' heads even though he's talking to them directly? I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
I think we swapped calls at one point, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fucking maybe.
And then, well, I don't know if this is the same story or not, because then it gives us Chronon 37 post-Cataclysm.
It just jumps, like, to something. I don't know what.
In my notes, I considered this a second story, because it doesn't really concern anything from the first, sort of.
Sure,
so let's say this is the name of another story. Because Chronon 37, post-Cataclysm, in this, Commander Michael Taylor discovers a dead planet with a foreboding recording on it, where Lara-Su recounts the final moments of her father's life, maybe. So yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate enough.
Photoshopped Lara-Su walks along a photo of a beach.
Okay, yeah, it is just a picture. I thought so.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yep. And she talks in narration and says that Knuckles is dead, and she sure is sad about that. And the size of her head keeps changing in these panels. And yeah, she angsts. That is a hard word to say. ANGSTS, angsts. The act of angsting. She angsts about not being good enough to be Guardian yet. And dear God, the background looks bad here. It is so low res and grainy. On top of him just, like, posterizing it. It looks like he hue shifted it and then gamma blasted the fuck out of the saturation to make it look like sunset.
It kind of ends up looking like it's a deep fried meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And in her memory, she's being trained by Knuckles' bow and arrow training. Except, look at that. What is that arrow? That's not aerodynamic. How's that gonna hit anything?
That's a war crime arrow.
The what?
It's a war crime arrow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so she said, and then we do a random cut to a future spaceship.
Cool. Alright.
So now we're in Chronon 43. Space Sector X3793491Y77025673333492.
Why not just give us a fucking captain's log, Ken? I know you just want to write more Star Trek stories.
How long is a chronon?
I don't even know what the fuck a chronon is.
Is it it must be more than a year for 6 of them to have changed things this much.
A chronon is a proposed theoretical quantum or smallest indivisible unit of time. So it's been 43 smallest units of time.
Almost no time at all.
Apparently. A one-dimensional proposed quantum of time.
Oh my god.
He's just using science bullshit now.
Yeah.
Alright. It's this illustration. Meet Michael Taylor, everyone.
I forgot there was going to be a human. I was warned on the cover, but I forgot anyway.
I sort of remembered, and I also remembered that every picture of... I swear to God, his face is just a photograph that Ken drew over.
So, okay, Ken caught a lot of flack for this page when he revealed it years ago, because...
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
With this character, he's been through a couple iterations. There was a... during the 3D render era of Lara-Su Chronicles, this guy looked completely different. But then, when it came time for Ken to draw him in 2D, and not just the 3D renders that he commissioned from somebody else, by the way, but still according to his proportions. But when he drew it in the original version, he caught a lot of flack, because he just photoshopped Anthony Mackie's head into this guy's spacesuit originally.
Oh my gosh.
Christ.
Actor Anthony Mackie, and people compare it, it's like it really was 1-to-1 back in the day.
Christ.
Now, I don't know if he's based off anyone in specific. He looks different now. I don't think that there's... I have not seen another man who has this face. It wouldn't surprise me if Ken stole another man's face.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is a stock photo he drew over.
I don't know, maybe.
Like a stock model or something.
But he doesn't look like any actor that I've seen.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look familiar, but I swear to God, this is just some dude's face.
Yeah, I don't know. But he's flying around an empty planet in his spacesuit, talking to someone, calls them an Aquarian, whatever that is. He makes a lot of Star Trek references and Planet of the Apes references.
Yeah.
Also the he's flying in his spacesuit and the jets appear to be coming from his kneecaps, so I'm not sure how that works.
I didn't even notice that.
This whole pose and foreshortening don't really work very well, but yeah.
God.
But I'll say this. I can kind of tell what's going on in these pages because there's not that much stuff to render. It's just this guy and photoshopped planet backgrounds. So I'd say these are probably the best pages. Especially
there's not that much dialogue, so it's much easier to tell what order I'm supposed to read things.
Well, and he's a human, which means that he's not immediately hideous to the eyes, although Ken Penders certainly tries.
Yeah, he looks fine.
He doesn't make me hate myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly a more comprehensible moment for these comics, so good job.
Certainly.
Yeah, sure.
But he finds a big burning crater. So, yeah. Inside, well, you tell me what we're looking at. There's some stairs, some destroyed pieces of something that maybe used to be a statue.
We're looking at 90s CGI.
There's a tree. I can definitely recognize a tree.
Yeah, and then there's like a hollow screen playing a log, like a log entry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a screen with Lara-Su on it that I guess must just be playing constantly. It's not like it activated. And she says they're all going to die, and then has a flashback in her visor, I guess.
Where the art gets even worse somehow.
Yes, indeed. This is the part that garnered a lot of attention when this book came out. We get a bunch of Ken's redraws of stuff from 25 years later, and these are particularly hideous because you have direct comparisons to Butler most of the time.
Yep.
It's not even a new versus old Ken art style thing, because some of these I think are redrawn from Ken's own work and still look even worse. Yeah, so we have Lara-Su hugging Knuckles from the one comic, and then I'm not sure where the lightning shorted out the power grid comes from, because I don't think that comes from a specific comic. So I think that's Rutan in the back there, and that's Salma, Espio's daughter, on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's that part where Lara-Su's like getting ready for her not quinceañera or whatever, with Julie Sue doing her hair. And then the part where she dances with Knuckles, except now her outfit is different, so she's mostly in the nude, and yes, we'll get to that. But,
yeah.
And then the part where, I think it's the part where she's hiding in the bathroom, and being like, I want to be the Guardian, but what is this background? That's not a door, that's just nonsense. That looks like a close-up of a beehive, maybe?
I think this is supposed to be how it played out in the new timeline. But then maybe they should have just like not tried to mimic the art at all and done something different. I don't know.
Maybe the problem is that Lara-Su's still got her old color scheme. So did that change happen in universe?
I'm trying.
Sure.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work really.
Anyway, nudity. This is the thing that everybody was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Oh yeah.
We cut to some stuff that definitely weren't in 25 years later, which is Knuckles, Julie Sue, and Lara-Su in nature, and all of them naked, for some reason.
Yeah.
We get shots of her being born, I guess, with a face overlaid onto it, staring directly into the camera.
This plot is very quickly completely falling apart.
One of these has Julie Sue breastfeeding her, and no, Lauren, I think that this is where the change happens, because you see her and you can barely see a old style Knuckles with her, and Lara-Su has her old colors, and then when it cuts to the breastfeeding shot, she has the new colors.
Yeah, that sounds right. You're right. You got it. Good job.
Christ. Oh my god.
Why did you draw this?
This is a good ass question.
People online love to call Ken Penders like a pedophile or a sexual predator, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he is. I think that he's just like mature people draw artistic nudity. I honestly think that's what it is, but God, does stuff like this not help?
Yeah.
Bruce, you've called him a lolcow before, and he definitely is in the internet's reputation. But people love to accuse lolcows of being predators without evidence either.
Oh,
I don't want to really be that kind of guy. Frederick Knudsen, please delete your old videos. But
I'm not trying to call Kenny anything besides
embarrassing.
You're basically just embarrassing himself because the internet won't leave him alone.
He forces a lot of people's hands to do this. I don't encourage contacting and harassing him.
No. I would like to make this very clear. All three of us, and I'm sure if you ask any of our other co-hosts, we do not endorse shitting on him. Don't go emailing him or tweeting him because he probably
we're mostly shitting on his work and the things that he's done to other people.
Yeah, I don't really care about the man as a person. I don't have a take in his existence.
Also, we'll see what YouTube thinks of these shots.
I totally agree. Well, I mean, you should definitely not show this as is. Definitely edit this. But no, I try not to be overly mean because, like, I mean, a lot of this stuff is way in the past anyways. So, like, what's really the point? And it's like nothing that I was directly involved in. So, like, it's just the internet being the internet a lot of the time, I feel like. And yeah, whatever it can do what you want at this point. I mean, whatever has been done.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about their work. Yeah, I'm.
It's not like anything Ken does matters at this point. It really doesn't.
Yeah, not really.
But he put this out, so we're allowed to look at it.
Oh yeah,
we're allowed to look at it and shit on it. He's put it out for the public.
He took money for this
to experience. I know, and that's fucking wild. But because of that, we're allowed to shit on it.
Anyway, so we then transition to we get that shot from before drawn, and you can notice the shot of him with and Lara-Su with the bow doesn't look like these other shots in terms of shading, so you can tell that he was drawing this over the course of years. And God, Lara-Su looks like an old woman in so much of this stuff.
Yeah, we get these really weird wrinkly faces.
Yeah, but then we transition to Knuckles showing Lara the power core, which I think is the Master Emerald, maybe?
Our new Master Emerald.
Yeah, the surrogate Master Emerald.
Yeah.
And then we have art that's reused from this exact issue.
Yep. The Photoshop warble effect has Lara-Su tell us that she has memories from another life, I think. So I assume, again, that's the change. And then, we're back on the ship with Kobar, that same drawing reused. They only did 2 drawings of Kobar, and one of his hand, I guess. And then he says they're looking for something on whatever planet this is. I don't know if we're doing the thing from the Diaz cast where we go to the time travel thing. Obviously, there's no Sonic here.
Yeah.
So I guess we're repeating the Forbidden Zone, but without Sonic, because they have this, like, goodbye moment that I assume is meant to be kind of sentimental, because...
I assume it is. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. Knuckles says bye to Lara. That's what's important. And he's like, oh, your mother wanted you to know that this is how it goes. I just have to be the strong man, I guess.
Damn.
And then it's like, it's your job to take over stuff.
And stuff.
And then they go out.
Going on here.
Whatever the hell is going on here.
And Lara shouts, "Fark!" Because we can't swear. We can only almost swear.
I mean, they say damn at some point.
Why though? This is so weird. Like,
Yeah, why not
why
just
do
have
you
them
feel the need
swear?
to censor the swearing?
Oh, I'll tell you why. It's because Ken Penders, when he writes, he's like, "This is a serious novel for young adult teens to read." And that means that he
Cool.
can. That means that he can put quote unquote artistic nudity in, but not the fuck word.
Okay, well, if you're trying to actually do that, I feel like you're undermining yourself when you have a substitute swear word, though, like right around it.
Well,
Kind
because
of,
I mean,
yeah.
I think they don't. I think that some YA literature does this. Like, Ken
They
probably
have,
wants
oh
this going
yeah.
up against like the Hunger Games and shit, or I guess whatever contemporary YA is. I haven't read young adult literature
No,
in a long time.
there is definitely some YA not like media works that do the like fake swearing,
Yeah,
which is fucking hilarious.
yeah. Actually, I haven't read a newer book in a long time. I've read a lot of Pratchett in the last year, but that's about it. God, Terry Pratchett is so much better than this. Anyway,
Most things are.
Yeah, most things are.
yeah, I'm getting fucking getting bronchitis from reading this. Anyway, so he says it's weird because maybe I don't know when exactly the time skip happens because he says Fark and then by the next point, Not Rotor is back asking her to open the hatch.
Not Rotor was featured a few pages ago too, so this was already the new timeline. I think it's showing you
Yeah,
what happened back in time in the new timeline.
yeah.
Yeah, but so they're returning. Sorry, I'm scrolling back. So they were going, and then they did all the stuff with Michael Taylor, and then we came back, and then they left. So they were going toward it since Sonic wasn't there because it was already the new timeline.
Perhaps.
Yes.
Anyway, so not Rotor comes back, and Kobar is slumped over his back because he's injured, I guess.
Something, yeah.
Okay, Laura, you have a chance to kill one of these people. Just let the Guardians die.
Let the past die. Kill it if you must. So she keeps asking where Knuckles is and won't let them in until he tells them. But all that Not Rotor will say is he's gone and he doesn't know what happened. So they need to let them in so that Kobar can get medical attention. And I guess because he's carrying him, that's Ken's approximation of, oh, these two are married.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't occur to you
Oh,
even, even after Ken did all that posturing about how Rotor and Kobar were an item.
yeah. That's funny. I'd completely forgotten that.
They should have at least had him do the friggin' princess carry, maybe. I don't know.
That would have worked a little
That might have
better.
reminded me. Yeah.
Well, but it's like he's sorry, just he pisses me off.
He pisses all of us off. It's okay.
Anyway, yeah. So she lets him in, and then Saber, who no longer has a monocle but now has a really bad hairpiece and goatee, he guides her in flying the ship and decontaminating Kobar and Not Rotor's spacesuits, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, this is when Laura actually refers to them as the emissary, so this is how I know that they are the emissary.
Okay, you're right, yeah. And yeah, radiation exposure, because the Forbidden Zone was the nuked out remains of Robotropolis, I want to say? Maybe?
Sure. Okay.
No, actually, I don't remember, because that was... Did the nuke thing come before that? I don't know.
I think it was.
Anyway, so yeah, she's flying the ship. We get another shot of her bare ass for some reason, because I don't know how nudity works, because she still doesn't really have to wear pants. It's gross, it's weird. Why would you fly a ship like this? You have to lay down on a thing and put your hands on a... It's just sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
And maybe not Rotor holding Kobar here. Maybe that's meant to be, because he's like, Goddess, don't let him die on me. Such tender yaoi. She was wearing shorts before. I don't.
Yeah, she's not wearing pants for some reason now. I don't.
Anyway,
Whatever.
she's flying. She continues flying, but sees a giant apparition of Knuckles in the sky in front of her and swerves off target.
I think it was at some point before this that I started really just skimming all of this because I did not remember that.
What the fuck is going on? I don't understand this fucking comic.
Again, Again, that's what I was saying. Like, we've completely lost the plot. It's just going fucking nowhere.
Yeah, also,
Or
Thunderhawk's ship
going
is right there,
somewhere.
but when she swerves off course, they then say, oh, we lost all contact, so what happened?
Okay, let me rephrase that. The plot is going somewhere. It's just not going anywhere where we understand it.
And that's it. That's the story. That's where it ends.
I'm almost disappointed that it ends here.
And the annoying thing is that I kind of understand what it's about. It's an excuse to kill time, just like every other 25 years later story.
Of course.
We waited 2 decades for Ken's conclusion of this stuff. Okay, no. We waited two decades expecting not have one, but we got one. And then when it turned out to be, was more spinning our wheels because we haven't gone anywhere since before. We started with Jeffrey monitoring things, and that didn't matter. And then we moved to Michael Taylor looking at things, and that didn't matter. And then we moved to Lara-Su leaving the place that they went the last time Ken wrote a Sonic story. And that's it. That's all that happened. They left a place, and even then they didn't get done leaving the place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dear me. There is one more thing here. Actually, there's a couple more things. There's all those character profiles we talked about, but there's also a preview for the full next book. And this is just a
more reused art.
Yes, more reused art. We get a reuse of that drawing of Saber. But we have a giant Big Brother style echidna head. Sorry, echidnia, because that's how you say it now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have.
I'm really hoping that this just never happens.
We have a destroyed planet Mobius, or they say we have no planet to return to, and there's a bunch of rocks, so I assume that's what it means.
Good.
We have Lara-Su still flying that ship. We have Lara taking the Guardian role from Remington for some reason. And also she's competing for it with this other guy that might be Rutan, I'm not sure. And then there's Lian Da, who is even more naked than in her old sexy outfits, doing presumably something villainous.
Or just being, a general nuisance like she was previously.
Yeah, and the scans we've got cut off the side of this, but I don't care what text we're missing.
I really couldn't give a fuck. Holy crap.
What a shit show.
Jesus Christ. Ugh.
This is the comic book equivalent of a Neil Breen movie. You want to talk about so bad it's good media. This thing is absolutely stunning in its badness. Yeah,
this honestly should be just like a new, I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest, I want Ken to keep going. I want to see what kind of insane bullshit he produces.
No,
the fact that nothing happens in this comic is the biggest thing. If we had, stuff actually moving, I would almost like it, because I like stupid bullshit, and I like
so do I, but I also like
enjoying.
I also like enjoying stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
And I don't enjoy this.
I don't know if I say I don't enjoy this for the reason Ken wants me to. I enjoy how appalled I am. There's refuge in audacity. That's what I would say.
I guess. I don't know, man. I was dreading reading this to the point where I literally left it until about 8 hours ago to read.
Oh my gosh, understandable.
And I'm almost like sad that I read it.
Yeah, on the one hand, I do want to continue because, I know so many people would like to see a continuation because of how much of a disaster it will be. But personally, I don't care.
I don't want to read it.
When I say this stuff, I'm not saying that because I really want to see what happens to Lara-Su. I just want to see what kind of bullshit Penders does.
No, I get that.
I understand that's your angle. But the thing is, I think we've seen what it's all going to be like already. I doubt it's going to be radically different than this.
That's a good point.
To agree. Yeah.
Even in my mind, even here 20 years later, I'm asking myself, how can Penders improve? And he can't, I know. You're right. He
can improve by deciding to cancel this project.
Well, I just mean, back in the day when we read all of Penders' old stories, we were always talking about the potential. I would always mention how they're definitely story-shaped.
It's true. I think I'm at this point.
This is not story shaped anymore.
No, this isn't story shaped. This is just a nightmare.
It really feels like one.
The thing is, like, when Penders was writing actual Sonic comics, they weren't just running the show all the time. So, like, what we got was Penders would throw something out, and then someone else would, like, do something different with it.
Would pick it up and make it interesting.
Yeah, and then Penders would come back and be like, no, that's not the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
and then move in a different direction again. And so there was, like, back and forth and actual, like, dynamicism.
Yeah, here we're
because
not
of that.
going to get any of that.
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to be all Penders. And this is very, very much removed from anything familiar. Like, yeah, you've got the familiar characters, kind of, except not exactly, because they've been altered in intentional and unintentional ways. So yeah, it's not all that, in my opinion.
Yeah. And fair enough. Yeah, okay. You've convinced me. I don't want more of this. I think I was just
coping. I also
coping.
don't want any more of this because, like, I know you're gonna make us read it.
Yeah, I would.
This wasn't that bad to read, Bruce. I would gladly cover another issue of this.
It really wasn't that bad. I was dreading it for kind of nothing, but I really don't want to read more of this. One issue of 20-some pages was enough.
Well, because it's fucking incomprehensible. It is so hard to tell what's going on. You know, because Lauren, you are right.
What I was reading for most.
When we were reading Archie, we were always observing, you know, what was going on in the background. Penders fighting with ballers, and even then, he still had the editors that
to keep things coherent. Now he is his own editor, as far as I know, at least.
Yeah, well, and you know, even
there
then,
are no other credits.
We noted how Gabri, his editing was not up to snuff a lot of the time, but you know, he must have done something because this is much worse.
Yeah, he at least clearly kept Penn. Yeah, Penn. You know what, Penn? He clearly kept Ken under some amount of control.
Well, and especially when he was working with other artists, you know, Stephen Butler is a good artist. As much as 25 years later is a bad story, I could tell what Butler was drawing.
Yeah, the art is not that bad in 25 years later.
Yeah, so, and it's weird because, like, I can appreciate this, I can kind of appreciate this weird photo-bashed, sort of ratchet, unhinged style. I would not, here's the thing. As much as this is hideous to look at, I would not say that it's visually, like, unengaging. It's not something that I would say looks boring, but it's so fucking gross. But it's like, if Ken leaned into that, he could almost do something interesting with it.
Make it more, like, abstract, modern, aesthetic art.
Honestly, use more photographs, because honestly, the posterized photographs are the most understandable backgrounds.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, and it's like, fucking, you know, am I really to judge that? I'm a Homestuck fan. Andrew Hussey did that for all of the shots of, like, the planets in that. So it's like, you know, clearly I could get down with that, but he's, you know, he wants this to be mainstream. He wants this to be taken seriously. He wants it to be taken seriously as, like, a deep fiction. It's not, it doesn't work as that. And it never was going to, because it's sourced from the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog comics.
Yeah,
you know?
That was his first mistake. He wants this fairly serious, like, respected a fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
What I see here is just unrefined ideas just flailing around.
And not even in a good way, where it's like, oh, I can see the diamond in the rough. This is not a diamond in the rough. This is this is psychosis in the rough.
Well, okay, we don't.
Not from Ken. This story is psychosis.
Okay.
This story is going crazy.
If this story was a person, it would try to stab you.
Exactly. Ken, I don't think so.
Well, I think this is just the story that Ken thought would be interesting, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, they're just doing what they want.
Sure.
I'm trying to think, like, what's really the point in talking about what they could do? They won't. They'll do what they want. They're doing
Ken's
what they want.
Do what he wants.
Like, that's really all this is. And if you're interested, fine, look at it.
I just don't want.
But otherwise,
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
Basically.
Yeah. This is a cap to our coverage of Penders' work because thank
God,
Ken Penders is really old and he's planning this 7-part graphic novel series, and it took him 18 years to put out a 30-something page book. I don't think that I'm shocked that this came out, and so we have been wrong before. I don't think that he's going to make anything past this.
I think we might
I don't think he's going to release anything past.
I think we might get 1 or 2 issues of the actual series. I don't think we're going to get anything beyond that.
I would be shocked, because here's the thing, full graphic novels, those are way longer than this.
Yeah, that's probably 50 plus pages. And if he's doing it literally all on his own, at some point, he's going to have to realize he needs to hire contract workers.
I'm genuinely wondering if maybe he's going to try and AI generate artwork, if that's going to be his secret.
I swear I have seen him at least
he
on
was
the side of AI art is not the way to go. I swear
he has said that, but I don't know if I believe him. He did get signed on to a AI generated artwork Knuckles cryptocurrency scheme.
I saw that recently. That was interesting to see.
He
also did sell NFTs, but they were of actual art, so
yeah, well,
that was also like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone actually bought them, is the thing.
He's got a few sycophants on Twitter that I'm
sure
but
he put them up for thousands because that's what NFT people think their work is.
He's got some sycophants on Twitter. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them bought.
I don't know, for thousands, because a lot of those people, a lot of people who are pro Penders are trolls, and a lot of people who are pro Penders are not. They don't actually care about his work. They just care about spite towards the main Sonic team.
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's I think very fitting because we have done this, and this is what Penders chose to do with his work after he left the Sonic comic. But what the Sonic comic chose to do after he left the Sonic comic is what we're going to start next week. Because next time on Deep Dive Zone, we are fully and truly entering what we deem the Flynn era of Archie Sonic.
Thank God.
Because Ian wrote most of it. And it's good. I think it's pretty good. I think that it's not perfect. I've definitely encountered some things that are not perfect.
Nothing's gonna be perfect. Nothing's gonna be perfect.
My God, we're putting ourselves in the perfect position to say, "Holy fuck, this is so much better."
Yeah, it should.
Yeah.
I should probably reread 160 in anticipation for that. It's probably not the best to end off on the very first issue of it. But with that all being said, I think we're probably never going to have to cover a Penders comic again, hopefully.
I hope so.
We didn't have to cover this one.
Yeah, that's a good point. We never needed to
have to do anything, but I don't think there's going to be many more Penders comics for us to cover.
I still, it still wouldn't surprise me if we get at least one, but I don't want to cover it. I refuse to cover it.
I don't know. With all that being said, that is where we're done for tonight. Thank you all so much for being subjected to this, allowing me to do this to you. If you like this video, why? No, if you like this video, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, suggestions, feedback, diseases wrought on from having a look at this, please feel free to contact us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week for an exciting episode. I'm not going to say another exciting episode because this one wasn't. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you have a great rest of your nights. And take care.